Well, people will use a ski halfway down the mountain, just one, so you could carry the other one.
It's really irritating that happens, because I'm sitting there, like, I don't even feel, my dad was up there, so like, I don't even feel bad, this is kind of funny, because I have to be the one to go fix it. Small house.
Alright, everyone.
You're alive.
Alright, so due to, I guess, due to illness for part of it, we don't have quorum today. So we won't be able to hold the meeting or take any actions, but we can just do a quick update on activities from the last month.
And what we would be voting on.
I just like to point out, one time you're online.
I know.
It's like, we don't have an actual meeting that we can do anything on, also me too.
And
This is like breaking up.
Like, come on, this is not important.
Sorry. Do you guys wanna like still review financials and we just can't vote on
Wait, just do it all next month unless there's anything.
it? Do you wanna review the investment reports? Those are kind of exciting.
Sure.
See how much money we think,
Sure.
which we want to do. I put the individual ones.
Oh,
two.
Okay.
They're individual.
Here's our investment report I did January, February, and March, because we had a pilot activity. And I wanted everyone to understand by the site, and why we're going back to normal now. We did, and maybe about 9,000 more in February due to that money sitting in my class. And maybe around 3,000 more in January, and went back to normal in February, so. Can you scroll to the March one?
So that's just using my classes and that some too, we received that kind of money from the project owner. Sticking in my class until we are on the next building cycle, we'll cutting checks and then pulling back up, we're not going to send it on the next jurisdiction, so this is a little thing. Some games for us.
It was super fun, I loved it. We appreciated it. It was so fun. But it was worth it actually, so then we have our total year to do interest, that's not including our installment sales. That's just a bank accounts.
That's just from 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll go back to around like class.
Send that to Larry.
Yes.
He'll be happy.
And that concludes the investment. Unless anyone has any questions.
That we have that option.
Make money on money.
Yeah, for the quarter so far, which again, this quarter is always skewed because the amount of item we're pushed over there short term. Where we would have, if it was just in the market, we would have made 14,000-15,000 in interest versus. So like 50-ish thousand, 47. Yeah, so. A nice financing for sure. Wish we had a for LCDC. Wish I had her. Wish I had her personal finance. That's a good answer. Next year, tomorrow.
What about, I don't know what else you had for updates, but how was the Brownfield
It was awesome.
conference?
It was a very good conference. So just some background on that. Shai and I attended a couple of years ago and we become good friends with the Mohawk Valley people and said if there's any opportunity for us to be part of it, let us know. And so the intent of this summit is to not only educate like economic developers and municipalities on how to tackle brownfields, but it's also the mechanism to get developers in the room. With the counties who have all these sites to develop. So the event has grown a lot, like I think they had over 250 people register and people coming from all over New York State. They said if you guys are gonna be involved, then you have to be involved in the planning of the summit. So I was involved for the past 4 months, like with the Mohawk Valley region, just planning the summit and the agenda and things like that. So with that, we were able to set up a table, we were able to promote, we had posters made of the Lions Falls Mill site and the Lions Falls School. And we made a ton of connections, like a lot of developers who, may not know much about Lewis County or the opportunities. But then also a lot of people who knew exactly who Nashville Lewis was and they're looking. We just received a ton of confidence about what we're doing, our initiatives up here, what we're doing for this county, so kudos to everyone for that. Shy Sarah panel, attracting developers panel, which was really great. It was just overall an awesome networking event and great leads with developers and
myself in schools things.
yeah, lots of business cards and interest in schools, so. Yeah, it was great, everyone coming in there.
No, this, I think. I feel it's dry. About the gallery and all that side of it, and how we're gonna address each one is, the sessions are good, but it's almost a case by case basis, how you're gonna need to address each one. And the last time we went 2 years ago, I didn't have as much success in networking with developers. And this time, like I said, I've got probably 20 emails to send today. I'm really using this tool that you just scan the QR code and go right to our sites page, which she's been building up for me in advance of this. And there's conversations with somebody in Harrisville, HDK property, which is for sale again, not in our hands, but on the site, so. Really promising, exciting to get some stuff done.
In our
All that stuff
swag,
we've been building towards.
that we gave away was the local Little Village Mushrooms tea. And Kaylee came up with opportunity. Those were ahead. I remember these, so. It was not over. But yeah, it was a great event. One takeaway that I have from it, there's a lot of resource tables set up, like yes, the individual counties were promoting, had the tables, but there was a lot of consultants and state departments and just resources that I feel we have not taken advantage of as a county. Like the Mohawk Valley region, they are using consultants and some services are free, some are, you have to pay for, just depending on where the funding is coming from. But there's so many supports out there for brownfields that I just don't think we tap into the expertise that is out there. So there's a lot of opportunity.
And I was working on something else last night, but just like looking through the timeline of things and how quickly we've gone from, I think Brittany and I would be the first time we went to an ESD conference even was like 2019. We started bringing us along.
I was like 17.
Yeah, growing. But that wasn't that long ago. That's 7, 8 years ago, maybe that we even started going. And now, like Brittany said, we have people coming out to us who we are leaving. From these conferences. It's pretty cool. Something that takes you 20 years to be able to get there.
What types of developers were there?
A lot of housing.
Yeah, it was heavy on housing, which is fine, especially with the Giovanni announcement, we were right in that same region. And we made a connection with you know, getting us on the radar for the regional talks they're gonna be having 2 schools within 35 to 40 minutes of that development. Yeah, that's not housing. Both of those schools have extra real estate where they can build more structures that will give them the economies of scale that they need. Yeah, so there's a lot of housing, there's an interesting solar developer that only develops on brownfields. Which I think could be interesting for a site we have, but that could have on that field. But only solar.
We had a lot of conversations about Chilani, just talking with North Valley Edge and the ESD, the state development people, and just how that whole transaction happened, so. It's good to get in front of them and say, hey, we're here, you know, make sure that we're involved in these regional conversations, which. North Valley Edge is gonna be leading some of those, they're just deciding when, where, how. So we will be involved. Conversations.
And the timeline for that, we were talking on the way home, the timeline for that, it's pretty quick, the build timeline, so. It's not like you're trying to get somebody to buy a school and be like. You probably won't have anybody to put in it until 2030, it's happening pretty quickly.
That's not waiting around for a lot of grants. It's the local community and the experts, right?
They have. So they did a nationwide search and they ultimately landed on New York because of the site at Griffiths. And the state gave them the most, crazy, I don't know. So,
But even on that side of the weekends. But it's always like a flip back of the state wants to make that investment worth it for themselves, so they're going to be investing in things around it. Grant wise, in order to make that go.
Any other questions or updates?
Included the report,
And
we don't really have any crazy updates in the report, nothing new or.
They're looking to put a finance staff together to support Green Acres processing. She will not able to secure the CFA grant for the development she wants to do, so. The state would like to see her have more security funding, so anything we can give her that shows the order. Obviously, we can't approve without an application, but that we have stats of financing we can come in and offer. Will be good for her, so we'll have that for the next meeting.
In Green Acres Processing is hemp processing company in Southern, basically.
well, if there's nothing else, again, we can have forum today, so there. Yeah, have an official meeting or take any action, just a few updates here, so if there's nothing else, we'll follow it.